Alright, welcome back, folks. The fight before Christmas continues. It's game number 2. Spawning in the top left corner of the map. He's down 1 at the moment. We'll see if he can bring it back. It's going to be the green barcode, best known as Evil Genius's Jaedong.
In the bottom right, as the red Terran, it's Jjakji.
So I gotta say, it's kind of cool, just as a side note before we get too into this. There's a lot of players now who, I think, I wouldn't say times have shifted, and guys, I'm fully aware that we're not the biggest organization out there, but it's nice to know there's players who want to play in our tournaments, not just through the qualifiers, but get in where they can, when they can. Jaedong was a pretty special exception for this group. If you guys notice, all the other players in this group are players who are invited based on qualifier results. Jaedong is the only one who wasn't. But Jaedong as well has also played in most of our tournaments to date, so there's that kind of like almost loyalty factor where it's like, wow, if he's willing to keep playing, we're willing to keep having him. He's a fantastically nice guy to work with, and I really didn't expect that. You know, when we got into the bigger names and working with players who have a lot of popularity, I expected them to be somewhat untouchable, but you know, I've met Jaedong a couple times at events. I hope to one day meet Jjakji, but these guys are just absolutely the nicest people in real life, and I'm so glad they're playing in our tournament.
Yes, quite. For someone who is so big in Brood War, it is hard to imagine them as anything but like, oh, I only play in like, you know, SSL and GSL. Right. I don't touch anything else. But Jaedong really embraced the whole like foreigner aspect. You know, obviously he's not even in Korea anymore. He's going to be playing in, well, he's actually in Korea, but he's not going to be playing in the Korean tournaments. He's going to prefer to go over to America again.
Well, I think one of the big things, yeah, with him going to WCS America / EU, that's going to be a really interesting dynamic. There's going to be so few Koreans actually competing over there. And I definitely wouldn't say, like, I think a year ago you'd be like, well, Jaedong's got easy money, but the North American scene, the European scene, they've grown so much, especially in the last year. Some of the foreign players are better than most Koreans nowadays, something that once upon a time you could not say.
True, true. It's also, I just feel like people, it's like you get stuck in Korea. Like, you don't even have to necessarily, like, be stuck. You just suddenly get stuck. I don't know how to explain it. Where, like, you just, if you're playing in Korea, maybe you're practicing that hard, and that's why you never leave, but you just don't seem to go to as many foreign tournaments. And Jaedong is, like, expressly really likes going to foreign tournaments.
Well, I mean, you gotta consider there's gonna be a big cost effect to that, too. I mean, flying from Korea to Europe and flying from Korea to North America might not always be the same as the other way around. That's true. But definitely want to see Jaedong more foreign tournaments. I think one of the biggest things is, like, these guys have cultivated some pretty nice personalities around them. Jjakji's definitely, I think, the smaller fish in these two, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, one of the bigger names there was. You know, not like this guy's never won a GSL or nothing. Well, long time ago, but yeah. Jjakji's
interesting because he was one of the forgotten GSL champions. Now, the real forgotten GSL champion is Sniper and or Roro. Both those guys don't remembers because they were Zerg and it was Blizzard Infestor. But Jjakji was up there for a while. But then he came back to being really good. So everyone kind of had, like, you know, we were bringing him up back like 6 months ago when he was starting to, you know, actually, how long has he been on Mind Sanity? Maybe a lot longer than that.
I want to say almost a year at least at this point.
Yeah. Everything's almost a year.
He's like the only one who hasn't won like a DreamHack too on the team, by the way. Like everybody else.
Womp womp. Someone got close, right? Like, who got close in the last DreamHack?
I don't know, but I know, like
Rain, of course. Rain got picked close to IEM, but it's not DreamHack.
Yeah, so Rain almost wins an IEM. Saxi gets picked up, he wins a DreamHack, no problem. Stardust a DreamHack, no problem. Like, Jjakji's probably the one guy on the team who's like, I think for a time was one of their best players, but never had like big titles, which was kind of sad.
Yeah, but he was always very solid, so people started remembering, oh yeah, he was a GSL champion. Yeah, look at that.
I do want to stress too, by the way, guys, like, while we got this opening setting up and all this, Jjakji, if you're a big fan of Jjakji, like, he's been somewhat, I'd say, a recluse, you know, training for WCS, hiding builds, all these other things, but not getting to GSL, not being able to play for WCS Europe, not getting to Spot TV. I mean, it kind of sucks for Jjakji, but it's really good for the fans of Jjakji, because this means he's going to be playing everywhere else as much as he can while he waits for the next season. Yeah.
And the builds have started to line up here, so let's talk about this. Yeah. You know, Jaedong's going for 2 base. He's got +1 on the way, Roaches, so I think he's going to do a big Roach attack. Jjakji, however, did get Banshees. Ooh. That's supposed to happen.
That should not have happened. That George should have absolutely died. Because it takes a 3rd shot from the Hellions, but still, that was so clutch. I thought they were going to physically block out the hatchery.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But yeah, Jjakji's going for a Banshee, so as long as he doesn't lose these, he's going to be very helpful in the defense of the Roaches. And he is going for Bio. Jjakji more of a Bio. He has like months where he goes for like a lot of mech, but I guess it's the month where he's going for a lot of Bio.
Well, I like to scan in the main, look for gases. Of course, can't quite confirm everything just yet as they've been taken at the natural. But the biggest scare out of this is, like, while roaches are okay to start, we really have to keep an eye on the production tab. If there's a baneling nest that comes down, this becomes that giant all-in. It becomes immensely scarier for Jjakji. I mean, it's probably not. It looks like he's just going to go heavy, like, you know, that 10-15 roach push. But still, it's one of those scenarios where it's not difficult for Jaedong to be like, you know what? Let's just pepper in some banelings.
Oh, it is. Could be that big roach push. You know, Jjakji should have a feeling that he should be cautious at the very least, right? So he doesn't know it's going to be 15 roaches. You only see 4 that could just very well be for Hellion defense. But you got to be wary that there could be a lot more in the way. Now he sees 6.
I like that. He walks right into the Hellions because Jjakji wasn't paying attention. He was microing against that Overseer back at home. So he gets a couple of snipes, not too bad.
The Banshee was just simply denied to the natural.
I think one of the biggest things here, he was driven off. I was to say, I didn't think it was killed. Jaedong's kind of hidden the roach count though by chasing off those Hellions and keeping the Banshee out. Jjakji actually hasn't assessed what you pointed out, where it's like maybe it's 5, maybe it's 20, I don't know. But because he doesn't know, he's gonna throw down that siege tank. He's gonna get a second bunker up. He's gonna play this ultra safe. I guess incredibly safe because ultras aren't in play. Anybody?
Oh, hey, Jaedong's doing what we were talking about a little bit earlier on today in that whole roach into muta switch. He did only like get the +1 missile, and now he's in the +1 carapace. But anyways, Jjakji, I don't know if he's gonna expect this. Like, it has really just fallen out of favor. He's gonna do whatever damage he can with the roaches. They're gonna die. I mean, the Banshee's there. He's got a lot of Marauders, but they can still kill a couple SCVs. They can't really get away though, which sucks.
And it really didn't do enough damage to warrant this. I feel like it would have been almost a better investment to stay at home because, as you said, with the Banshee out, there's no pressure. He can't leave these here to poke at that third. I guess the creep spread's here, which is annoying, but yeah, there's no continued pressure to the natural. He tore down 2 depots, a couple SCVs. Bit unfortunate. But the nice thing is, roaches aren't that expensive, so losing them isn't nearly as painful as losing Mutalisks.
Jjakji going for an immediate attack with 2 drops. It's actually going to work out. They're going to hit just before those mutas pop out, and of course before banelings are here. There are roaches, but they are on the wrong side of the map.
Well, they'll throw down the rocks and be able to at least respond. Better than getting blocked out and have to go all the way around off of creep.
Yeah, that is true. The Spire's at the 3rd. Jjakji does have stim, so it's possible he could snipe it. I mean, it's a pretty, like, you see that, and it's like a magnet, right? You just want to snipe it.
This 3rd base, there's so much here that he has to defend. The Spire, the Evolution Chamber, the actual base itself. The roaches will get here to respond. The problem is with the Marauder in this tow, you know, there's a lot of damage coming down. Jjakji can start microing these Marauders too. Maybe go full on Nathanius. Yeah, I should never in my entire life think I could have ever gotten away with a reference like that, but Nate had some pretty sick micro in that that red to highlight clip.
Yes, he did. Meters are now out, so I think Jjakji, this is his first, you know, indication that it's not going to be just pure Roach or Roach Hydra. Well, actually, you saw the Spire, that's right. But I guess that was his first indication. He was getting, I guess, a 1, 2. Maybe he was going to start producing more tanks than just this one, but he swapped over fairly quickly after realizing that Spire was on the way to Widow Mines.
I am quite frankly a bit shocked that we see him transitioning back into what should have been standard in the first place. You know, Banelings, Zerglings, like those upgrades coming out now are, again, I feel a little bit awkward. But nice catch here on the reinforcement line. Gets right through the middle of it, so he doesn't have to fight the army head on. He's going to pick up a lot of Marines on the way back, trying to stay away from the big clump of units, of course. And this is a great move out of Jaedong. It completely draws Jjakji's army away from his 4th. Oh, that Baneling coming to the back end.
Look how little anti-air there is. I mean, you have to waste the lings and the Banelings here.
There's no more.
Attack of the mutas. And this is why this transition can be very effective. I mean, usually you have to do some damage to that earlier Roach push to really be able to even survive until you have mutas and Baneling speed. But if you do any damage, then, like, they're preparing for another thing. You know, I expected that. They're preparing for something entirely different. They have Marauders. They might have more than one tank, which is actually pretty devastating. Tanks are just not that good. Like, people try, but you really need, like, a large number of tanks to really make them useful, and that you just don't have that for a very long time, especially if you try and push out like Jjakji did right there. You just get swamped by, you know, a composition that you weren't preparing for.
And that's kind of heartbreaking too, because the tank is, it's one of those units that's trying so hard. Like back in the day it was a really big deal, and now it's like,
buddy.
It's, you know, a tank is like a GIF, right? No one wants to say it. But what
is this analogy?
I don't know, I was just trying to take a shot at the GIF. No one, okay, whatever. Anyways, the Mutas are gonna just barely miss the medevac here. There is a Widow Mine in this drop. This is not just a Marine drop, so there's a lot of very explosive potential damage here. Back rocks are still up, so Jaedong can't quite run by, but man, he's got a lot of units roaming the map right now. His upgrades are not so bad. I mean, last time it was embarrassingly bad. Like, naked Zerglings versus 2-2, you just can't damage the Marines, like, period.
Yeah. They're actually ahead of Jjakji. Well, take care of his upgrade is either, anyways. So.
Nice
that
split.
is something that does not happen very often.
Well, he's gonna get on top of this army, but there's too many Marines here for the Mutalisks. So sacrificing the Lings is okay, but you gotta keep those Mutalisks alive. They're the bulk of the army. But a big surround for the reinforcements flooded. Jaedong with a lot of Banelings coming from that natural base, from that fourth base. No longer on the defense, fully on the offense. He sees that Widowmine. He's trying to avoid it. The shot goes off on the Lings, and now these bunkers are absolutely gonna get bust. He tears through with the Banelings, but is this enough? There's a big drop at that third base. It cleared it out entirely. There's drones here, there's Zerglings here, but nothing to really deal with the drop. Jaedong, though, just overwhelming here in the natural base. Banelings going off on tons of workers, and there's just not that many Zerglings left, but there's nothing to stop the Mutas.
He still has a lot of workers because that third has been untouched, but the main does go down. He's down to 47 SCVs, 2 bases.
Okay,
It's not gonna be enough Banelings, yeah, okay. So he's gonna save it, but he's down to 2 bases now. That command center of the natural did die.
There's a lot of really clutch moves that Jaedong's been doing in this, by the way, that just we can't nitpick everything. One of the coolest things, though, is he's constantly been segmenting his units out. He's had he's borderline perfect Widowmine control, or counter Widowmine control, I should say. He splits off a lane here, sits on the hold position. He runs those Banelings that were destined to die into a Widowmine because he knew where it was burrowed. I mean, lots of cool things coming out of Jaedong from this attack. And more than anything else, of course, it definitely sets him ahead. Down to 29 workers. Jjakji did not get the better end of this trade.
His army supply is a little ahead right now, but I don't think that's going to be enough to really power forward and win. He still has to deal with being on creep because he didn't clear it up entirely last time he was here. And Jaedong's going to have, I think, enough time to get enough Banelings. Like 18 Banelings on the way, a lot of Lings, and of course those upgrades are even, much different than last game.
He did lose a lot of the Mutas, though, in that attack. So he doesn't quite have that big follow-through, but Jjakji with some Widowmine micro here trying not to go off on anything useless. Sadly, his friendly fire going off too. The attack begins and some of the Widowmines removed from the fight immediately. This Thor, though, not going to get the shots it needs. Again, Jaedong with that control segments. The one Mutas he knew was being targeted out from the fight. Continues to push forward. The Widowmines take out a good chunk of the Banelings, but there's so many Zerglings and so many Mutalisks still left alive. He's going to keep pushing.
Yep. Surround of the Marines go down. The Banelings can't quite make up for it, but the Mutas are plentiful enough with that Glaive Worm to take care of those balled up Marines. And again, we have to point out that Jjakji lost the natural. If he was on 3 bases, Terran could do wondrous things with mules, but he's not.
But he's picking up a good chunk of the Mutas with that southern reinforcement point. Problem is still I don't think enough to carry him through this. There's no medevacs to keep healing the Marines. They're coming out 1 at a time, 2 at a time. Jaedong doesn't have a lot, but Jjakji has even less.
Yeah, absolutely true. Can't quite get on top of production. You know, the Muta is going to have to leave eventually, but there's more Lings in the way, so maybe that's not the case.
Yeah, GG is going to be called. Jaedong will bring this series back. Jaedong ties it up 1-1.